Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I want to talk to you about three subjects tonight. The first one is a statement from the economy minister in Israel, Nir Barakat, about Qatar. The second thing that I want to talk to you about is NATO's pledge to give Ukraine 100 billion euros. And the final thing that I want to talk to you about is the introduction of an old new bomb by Russia labeled as the Judgment Day bomb. I'm going to start off with Nir Barakat. So Qatar is obviously the mediator between Hamas and Israel alongside Egypt, and Israel relies heavily on Qatar to reach a deal. However, they're slowly but surely taking more and more steps against Qatar, against Al Jazeera, and they're showing more and more hostility to the Qataris, especially as they're seeing that they are working more towards Hamas's requests rather than Israel. So Nir Barakat, he had an interview with Bloomberg. He said he doesn't trust Qatar to act as a mediator with Hamas, as ceasefire talks that could also see the release of hostages held in Gaza remain deadlocked. Quote, "They're wolf in sheep's clothing," Nir Barakat told Bloomberg on Thursday, referring to Qatar and accusing the Gulf country of funding terror all over the world, according to him. This is coming following other statements from other ministers in Israel criticizing Qatar and them passing a law that would ultimately ban Al Jazeera. And after also Netanyahu said that they will be banning Al Jazeera. They're making everything impossible, and they don't want to give any sort of concessions. They don't want to give Hamas what they want, and they only want Qatar to put more pressure on Hamas rather than actually reach a deal, which is simultaneously coming with Netanyahu's orders to the delegation not to reach a deal, and him preventing the delegation from actually taking some actions that would give them some space and some sort of maneuverability when it comes to the negotiations, and him also quoting that he's the one running the negotiations. That's number one. Number two, 100 billion euros is, you heard that right, 100 billion euros is planned to be provided for Ukraine. NATO planning a long-term Ukraine aid, 100 billion euros. So not only did the NATO and these policies that were led primarily by the US, because Europe follows the US when it comes to foreign policy, not only did they create a terrible economic situation for European countries that most people don't talk about, awful economic situations, hikes in energy prices, gas prices, electricity, everything that everyone is paying for, all due to their stance against Russia, following US orders. Now they want to give them even more taxpayers' money. Where's this money coming from? Do you think they're paying out of their pockets? They're paying from your pockets. This is what they're paying for. 100 billion US dollars for this proxy war that they can never win, out of people's money, planning to give this regime in Ukraine that has had nothing good for the Ukrainian people. They've done nothing good whatsoever. Corruption after corruption. And we've heard many reports of them dealing the arms that they get, sending them to other countries, selling them, total corruption, and they're still sending them all of this money. Yet, at the same time, all of them are supporting Israel, and including the Ukrainian president himself, Zelensky, supporting Israel against the Palestinian people. Imagine the hypocrisy, imagine the blindness, imagine the immorality. Just because their governments tell them you should support them, everyone claps, everyone supports, they raise the flag as if they're supporting the Ukrainian people, by the way. We're with the Ukrainian people, we're with the Russian people, we're with the people in general. However, the absurd thing is that many people won't question anything so long as it's acceptable from the mainstream media, that the government gives the blessing, so long as there's no repercussions on you for supporting this cause and you're not labeled, God forbid, as something bad, right? As we can clearly see from how they label the pro-Palestinian supporters, and they're supporting 100 billion. Where's the criticism? Where's the outrage? What are the people living in tremendously amazing economic situations in Europe, or are they facing harsher situations? People in the UK, they can't live with 60k salaries. They can't properly live with 60k salaries. And you're telling me you want to give them 100 billion from the taxpayers' money. Outrageous, outrageous. This is coming at the same time that they're also pushing for people now for conscription. So the countries closer to Russia are pushing more towards conscription. Even the UK, we're having talk about conscription. In the UK, started from a couple of months ago. They want now, not only to send them money, but they want to send the people as cannon fodder to go and fight the elites' war, the elites' proxy war in Ukraine, and have an endless tap of money open 24/7 for the military-industrial complex, and letting their own population die. Outrageous, outrageous, seriously. And there's not enough criticism about this lunacy. Now, Cameron, he's ruling out boots on ground now. You've just had a very recent report, actually just today. He ruled out Western troops being sent to Ukraine to avoid giving Russian President Vladimir Putin a target. That's so far. However, we don't know what might change soon. Why are you having the biggest military drills in decades, consisting of 90,000 NATO troops, 20,000 in a couple of months, right? What are they doing exactly? Preparing for what? To go and swim in the Scandinavian Ocean? What are they going to do? So it's absurd, really. And all of that is obviously pushing the Russians to introduce more lethal weapons to the battle in Ukraine. Now, the recent old new weapon is the Fab 3000. The Fab 3000, Sputnik had a report about it. It was developed in the USSR in the second half of the 20th century. It's a 3,067 kg bomb packed with 1,400 kg of explosives. It's huge. Envisioned as a multi-purpose munition that can be used for strikes against fortified industrial facilities, underground structures, and dams. Dropped from altitudes of up to 16 kilometers, the bomb can reach a flight speed of up to 1,200 kilometers an hour and has an estimated range of 60 to 70 kilometers. The weapon has a destructive diameter of up to 39 meters, and its original variant was designed to be carried by the Tupolev Tu-22M3 supersonic strategic and maritime strike bomber. These bombs' characteristics are simple and come from the name of these weapons. These are high explosive aerial bombs packing 1.5 tons of TNT. That was said by veteran Soviet and Russian army officer and military journalist Viktor Litvokin. He told that to Sputnik. So they're taking this position against Russia only for the sake of the US, who ultimately wants to control and occupy Russia, by the way, in case anyone has any delusions, supporting the most corrupt government in the EU. By studies and statistics, check the Ukraine, the most corrupt government in Europe, the Ukrainian government, who has Nazi forces fighting with them, by the way. And they're selling it as if it's for the sake of the Ukrainian people, when the Ukrainian people are paying the price for their corruption and for Western powers feeding this war further and further against Russia, to take down Russia at the end of the day, because Russia as a country is the main target. So people really need to wake up to this, because you're talking about something that can be devastating for everyone. It's already had a devastating economic impact. What, do you want it to reach a stage where they send your children to go and die for US corporate greed? Wake up. And these were the main things that I want to talk to you about tonight, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Take care.